Yesterday we added the sheet window as a preference. As a quick note here, we can also open the preference window generally by clicking somewhere on the app's name, and there is a preference here, including the use of shortcut. We didn't set that up yet in our application. As you can see here, the preference menu item is there already. But if I click on it at the moment, it won't show up, and it's actually showing as gray color. So I want to hook this up to the same tab wheel controller as the preference window. I can simply drag it from here to here, or maybe I could drag from the sidebar to our tab wheel controller as well. However, this case, it doesn't show the sheet here, because you have to notice that for a Coca application, there could be many windows in the same application. Then it is not clear which window or which view to show the sheet. So in this case, Xcode with the storyboard limits you to only these segue. Say I'm going to use show, and then now run the application. By going to the menu bar, I can now choose preference, and it will show up like this. You need to be reminded that in this case, generally, we don't need to show the button, but for demonstration purpose, we just leave it there. In order to close it, just close it like this. Now I'm going to add another part to the application, which is a split wheel to on left side and right side. Go to the storyboard, type split. You actually see a vertical split wheel or horizontal split wheel. I'll just pick one here, drag to the storyboard. In order to display this split wheel, I have several ways depending on the application. For instance, I can put it inside a container view in the main wheel controller. The use of container view will be good if I am having other controls in the main wheel controller. So say it only shows up on the top side, and then maybe I have some other button down there. Or maybe showing up some label or whatever. Then I can drag from the container view to the split wheel controller, and it will show as embed. I could now try to run the application. So it shows up like this, the split wheel on the top and the other controls at the bottom. Just in case, maybe you don't want like this. I may not need any other control. I just want the split wheel controller as the main wheel controller. So what I could do is to delink here, and from the window, I choose the window controller, or choose it on the left sidebar, and then drag it directly to the split wheel controller and choose window content. That means the window controller is now embedding this split wheel controller directly. Let me move it aside a little bit. So it's okay if I have two different controller to include this speed rule controller. It all depends on our pathway of the application. Say I'm going to run the application now. You seems like seeing nothing, but actually the application is running right now, as you can see here. So it actually goes to this little straight line, vertical line. If I drag it open, you actually see our application. So what happened? The point here is that I have nothing showing up within the speed rule controller, and somehow it constrains the width to 0, so it shows just a straight line over there. What I could do is to include some content inside. Say this one is the left one, and for example, I can add a test view into it. So say the left hand side, I only want it to be 200 width. By the way, if I set it to smaller width, it will reflect on the speed rule controller as well. And then say this text wheel, to make simple, I will just set all the margins to 0, and then command alternate equal to resolve the auto layout issue. And I have to do something similarly on the right side as well. Say I would have another kind of wheel, say having a table wheel over there, and then say it is having 0 constraint to all the edges as well. If I now run the application, it still shows as a straight line. So my auto layout setting is not enough. I'm just telling it attached to the edge, but I didn't tell how wide the wheel should be. So I need to go to the pin, add the width to it as well, also to the table wheel, and run the application again. As you can see, it can now show. Just to let you know, now I may not be able to adjust the width of the window. However, I can adjust the height. So why? It is because the constraint I set on both is an equal constraint. So it fixed the width of this wheel to 200 and the width of this to 450, and together is 650. So it's always 650 width. So in order to solve that, perhaps I could add it a little bit here to large or equal to. If I run the application again, now I'm able to adjust the width. And by the way, it's also good because I fixed the width of the left sidebar. So even this one won't change. And by adjusting the width of the window, it will only change the right hand side. So it depends on your cases. You can make use of the constraint according to your application need. And that's it for today. See you tomorrow.